wanted to get you back because there's been so much going on in terms of the industry.
You know what's going on.
It's been a lot going on since the last time we talked.
All the podcasts are talking about this thing with this man. I don't know this man. I don't swim in that pond, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. But what I see is I see somebody who's doing something that's been doing it for over 30 years. And all of a sudden now, this is what I know. Okay? I only speak on what I know. I don't like that term gatekeepers. I like overseers. Overseers on the plantation had a certain amount of power that they could wield that the master, the owner of the plantation, gave them. And many of the slaves purportedly feared the overseers more than they did master because they wanted to maintain and keep their status. Listen to what I'm saying and look at what's happening. They wanted to keep and maintain their status. And as long as the slaves were making that money when they weighed that cotton and whatever crop they had, the overseer's position was solid. So he cracked the whip to make sure that them slaves busted their butt.
You're choosing not to say the person's name, right?
I don't want to. You can say whatever name you want.
Because I just want to make sure the viewers, at least I'm understanding that you're talking about Diddy, and you're talking about what went down. I think like relatively maybe about a month ago, his house got raided, and that would open up a can of worms. You're seeing different headlines come out. You're hearing about freak off parties, which I want to ask you about. Were those things existing in your time coming up? But I mean, just seeing that.
I say one thing about that last part that you asked me. Fatty Arbuckle. That name ring a bell?
Nah.
Fatty Arbuckle was in the silent movies. He was a superstar in silent films. And his career was lost because he was look at you Googling because you're young. He was at a freak party, which has been going on since Hollywood existed. This is nothing new. It might be new to just your generation. This ain't nothing new. The game doesn't change, John, only the players. And this generation doesn't understand that because they don't know what happened before. If you don't know your history, you're going to repeat the same dumb things in the future. Fatty Arbuckle was a superstar in silent films. He was at a freak party, which all the big studios used to throw. And he was accused of inserting a bottle in a woman. And it killed his career. His career became flat as 3-day-old beer. What I know about the overseers, I don't want to use that gatekeeper nonsense. That's a modern term. Is that as long as they're producing, they're good. No matter what they do, no matter how vile it is, the gatekeepers will make it go away. Now, what I know, because I went to the top in my industry, as long as you are making money for the powers that be, you can do anything short of somebody watching you murder somebody. The moment you stop making the money for them, you have no intrinsic value. And I knew that, and that's what I used in the business of show. So I'm not talking about this young man. I don't know him. I don't swim in that pond. It's not necessary for me to bring all these people in, how he took advantage of. They wanted something. He wanted something. If you go to a shore in the Caribbean or even here, and you see a sign that says shark sightings, no recreational swimming. You see surfers out there. You see people swimming out there. They go in the water and come out. Nothing might not happen. But then they go in that water and a shark will get them, and that's the end of that. So those waters that these people are swimming in are shark infested. In the motion picture industry, in the television industry, and in the recording industry. Those waters are shark infested. You take a chance to go in there, you might come out unscathed, you might not come out.
Yeah. Do you think
so what they're talking about this young man is doing has been going on since silent film. Do your research, son. After you hang up, say, you know, that old dude was right again. God dang. Because I'm from that era. I know the history of the industry. The thing that this young man is going through could be they have a ritual, an embarrassment ritual, a shaming ritual.
Right, but let me ask you this, because with that statement, you said this could be a shaming ritual. Does that mean the person's in on it as well as like this is part of my initiation? Because I saw Diddy in Miami and he was smiling as if everything was okay.
I don't know if this young man, I saw him on in a magazine, and I don't want to talk about him, but I saw him on a magazine wearing some pretty zesty clothes. So that said to me, he's probably part of that whole thing. And when you're part of that whole thing, you have to do what you're told. So if you want to go swim in those waters, you got to know, you got to be prepared. Look, there people say Damon was hard on John. He was hard on. Look, my hardness came from the discipline of my mother and father. When I was 8 years old to 18, I was in scouting. When I was 11, Cub Scouts, where you learn handcrafts, 8 to 11. At 11, I joined the Boy Scouts of America. That was before homosexuals were raping little boys. This was in the 50s. I was sleeping on the ground in 20-degree weather, putting up a tent, learning how to cook my food and being a man, how to be a man, how to be a man, how to start a fire with a flint. And then I went into the military. So when I went to basic training, it was like summer camp for me. And then I was in the middle of a war. So I'm not a B male. I'm not a beta male.